Whew, boy. Seeing such a zoomed-in view of the defendant lobby in the 2024 version just feels weird. I know why they did it, but still. Your first trial and it's a homicide. I guess justice doesn't start small, eh? It never seems to. Even Apollo's client dealt with a murder for his first trial. And on top of that, this is the third murder charge he's had. Man, Phoenix doesn't look like he's been taking much great care of himself for the past 7 years he's been not an attorney. I got quite a lot to say about the graphical changes between the remaster of the original trilogy and Apollo Justice. The Judge is only the beginning. Also, Winston Payne rocking the locks. I do not exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin.
Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience, fine. But does he have courts of steel?
Courts of steel do not amount to much if you don't have a case to present. Then let's begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom. You mean he hasn't been in the courtroom this whole time? Grape juice is apparently our defendant's drink of choice. And I guess it's just regular grape juice and not the fermented kind. Trying to steer clear of such a high age rating despite the emphasis on investigating bloody murders? Or is it because Daddy Takuma-sama just loves the unfermented kind so much? Hooray! I can examine my attorney's badge again even though I don't need to. Apollo's badge number is 929XX3. Since when did attorney's badge IDs have X's? Wait a second, isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in and of itself! Well, that depends on the circumstances. There's of course a minimum age for being allowed to gamble in the US, whether it be 18 or 21 depending on where you live. Also depending on where you live, there are restrictions on how gambling is legally managed. But my point is, the judge isn't entirely on point to refer to gambling flat out as a crime. In Japan, it's a different story, but we're not in Japan. Are we? Are you alright? You're sweating bullets. Bullets? Where? His head's even lighter than Phoenix's, if you can believe it.
As if. Phoenix Wright would never lie, and it's up to me to prove it.
Yeah. All in the past. Things like the black market are only on the silver screen nowadays. Are they, though? Are they? OBJECTION! Is this game trying to make the player destroy their voice just for this moment? On the night of the crime, who was it who reported the murder to the police? Reported? Well, that was the defendant, Mr. Wright, but still, that doesn't prove it wasn't him who committed the murder. I guess being a hobo for 7 years means not being able to upgrade your cell phone in 2026. Hold on just a moment! Where's the witness? You can't see her hand holding the dish? I surmise that she has been frightened by the defense's demonic-looking hordes. Those hordes look nowhere near demonic. Now the prosecution. Wait a minute! Would the prosecution care to explain the witness's, paraphernalia? And is the judge not going to do anything about it? I'm pretty sure unauthorized photography of this nature, especially flash, is illegal. Why are the photos from Olga's camera in color, but the crime photos are in black and white? In 2026, mind you! In this room where famous gangster Bad Guy was arrested. This gangster wasn't really doing himself any favors by making his name as not subtle as that. Isn't it obvious? The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith. Objection! That's ridiculous! Because Mr. Wright can't lose! Oh, and I guess Mike Tyson could never lose a boxing match either. Looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything.
There's such a thing as thinking too much. This horse is dead, let's stop beating it.
There's such a thing as thinking aloud too much, too. There's also such thing as making sense when it comes to thought bubbles! No, I don't care if you're being self-aware! What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars? Or rubles even? Yet, as I've been saying before, it was game, not gambling. Hard perhaps for capitalists to understand. Ouch. Also, didn't we already establish way earlier that this poker competition didn't involve any form of gambling? Well, does the defense want the witness to add to her testimony? Why would I not? It's ridiculous the game even asks this. The value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing! With a weak understanding of the circumstances like such, it's a wonder Payne still has a career as a prosecutor. I still remember both hands very well. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces, and Mr. Wright's 2. You would think she wouldn't have said something so stupid when she's already seen the chip photo prior to making these statements. She's just exposing herself more and more with each new testimony that she gives, because she doesn't know how to properly deceive people despite being a con artist herself. Miss Orley, in your testimony, you made the following claim. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces. But as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces! Eek! Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question. Payne, you've seen this photo too? Wow, that was so much quicker than what Rise from the Ashes did. Try using the right analog stick to turn it every which way and X and Y to zoom in and out. Why write the analog stick directions in this manner? Just put it as right analog stick. No need for the directions.
Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her. Of her mistake.
Apollo Justice, disgraced attorney. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries.
Objection!
Was that the Phoenix Wright objection soundbite that wouldn't be used until Dual Destinies? What's it doing here? The two decks at the club have different colored backs. Blue and red. One color per deck. Why use different colored backs? If we use the same color, the two decks might get mixed.
You used different colors, but they still got mixed up.
Apparently, the murderer decided to cause a bit of confusion with the different decks, because there's no way it wasn't obvious that the last game Phoenix played with Smith used the red deck at the time of the crime scene tampering, especially since he took a card with him that had a red back. The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Wright, of course, and, well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga Orley either. Well, what are you suggesting? That's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As the defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Miss Orley at this point. That actually makes even less sense, and it is a very iffy indicator of the end result of this mystery if it's my mentor of all people saying this. This was a new Ace Attorney game for the beginning of a new generation, and yet we're still overestimating spans of time. How is it nearly 2 hours since the start of the trial? She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? No.
Come on, who noticed that?
Who wouldn't notice that? It's all just a matter of picking up a pattern from that habit, that's all. The recess was meant to be 20 minutes, yet it went for 22 minutes. That's cheating. Sadly, fatigue is insufficient grounds for refusing to testify or prosecute. Christoph, you would do anything to indict Olga, wouldn't you? I mean, technically at this point we're accusing her too, but dang. I'm not really Russian, and my last name sounds like oh really. Thanks for explaining the pun for us, thank you very much. He's lucky, I'll give him that. You'd have to be to slip free from a trap laid by Olga Quickfingers Orley. Oh, really? Okay, Judge, just because she told you about the pun doesn't mean you have to keep repeating what it means. Let me just get those sins out of the way before I forget. I saw it when Wright hit him. With my own eyes, I saw it.
What's this weird vibe I'm getting?
What, he's never felt it before? We interrupt Apollo Justice Ace Attorney to bring you psych. It's like I could perceive her habit like I couldn't before. So he never noticed his power until now? That's lucky? Miss Orley, please testify in detail about the moment of the crime. The very moment. Yet, I am knowing nothing. Did she just put her Russian clothes back on for the court to see? So, explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely! Maybe she just followed him up there and lied about it? But that wasn't it either, was it? Who thought the cards used in the final game were blue? I love how our options are so narrowed down. Not a lot of choices here, and only one of these actually makes perfect sense. You can't tell which of the cards are blue, the ones on the floor or the table. Sure, except the deck in this crime scene photo is nowhere near the correct shade to match the deck in the colored photo. But look! You can see the colors in this photo! That suggests that the blue deck was placed on the table sometime after the game had finished because there's no reason I could think of for it to be there while the last gameplay with the red deck was underway. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request that you testify to the court!
Objection!
The defense would like to request no such thing. Christoph must be desperate to get caught, no? Next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it. Don't tell me how to make my objections. The fact that I had to examine the bottle itself before I could present it as evidence to this new statement about fighting the card. What, Mr. Wright? Surely! Isn't all you have to say for yourself? But that's not really saying. Because you're not making a sound.
The gentleman who challenged you, he turned out to be good?
He turned out to be dead. Someone hit him. Hard. In the opening, we heard him say the word dead, and the rest of the conversation kept going as it does this brief flashback. But this is the first time we hear him say he turned out to be dead. Why do we not hear that particular part in the opening? 2 hours and 18 minutes after the recess ended? How is that possible? The recess was for 10 minutes, yet we're back 13 minutes later. That's cheating. Ace Attorney, the only game where you can present a piece of fabricated evidence and still win the case. I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. But in so doing, Christoph should have been able to see that the last game was played with the red deck, not the blue. Ooh, fancy. Ace Attorney is going 3D. Please give this to the bailiff. Yes, I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright. Isn't it amazing how, even after being stripped of his attorney's badge 7 years ago due to fabricated evidence, Phoenix is still trusted? Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there, in plain sight.
How about you just say the answer in plain words?
Because then, Apollo, wouldn't be much of a game, would it? When you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional investigation? Ah yes, I remember about that here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borscht Bowl Club. And here's one of the bottles in question. When the heck did that arrive? Kristoff must have some kinetic powers if he's causing the lobster dish to levitate like that while slamming his fist on the witness stand. This is insane! What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone? I don't think prosecute and convict mean the same thing if that's what you're saying. This is a dark time for our legal system. A twisting of justice brought on by our very own initial trial system. You mean the system that we've only really seen in complete action from 2016 to February 2017? I mean, that did mean speedier trials in future installments, but still. Ugh, I'm not sure I like the droning audience noise. And why did the screen still show for like 3 seconds after the sound stopped? Also, the confetti all seems to be floating in one single direction. I don't think that's how confetti works. The original trilogy handled the raining confetti better. 2 hours, 3 minutes? That's just wrong. What possible reason could he have had to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Even 6 months after Kristoff's arrest, you're still gonna be mysterious about it. Ugh! Ah!
I punched him!
Hey, that's almost like when Red White punched Phoenix 9 years ago.